Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I have another vintage block for you. This one is called Goose in the Pond, and here is today's block. This is a 15-inch block. It may look similar to the block we did last week, the Missouri puzzle block, and I have that one here so we can kind of compare the two. And you'll notice that the half square triangles are in different positions, and the colors in the 9-patch and the rail fence blocks are in opposite positions. So you can see these here. Let me show you them to you kind of half block to half block. Okay, so you can see how this corner is different than this one here, and how the colors are in opposite positions here in these blocks. So it's just goes to show you that you can use the same units in a block and get a different look. Of course, the colors are different. I used green and yellow in Missouri Puzzle, and this teal and green in the Goose in the Pond block. So you know, colors make a difference and position of the blocks make a difference. So anyway, I hope you'll stay with me, and I'll show you how to make the Goose in the Pond block. Okay, I am going to start by taking one of the green strips that are with the fabric. I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half, so that I have approximately 18 inches to work with. So this is just a simpler way to do this, and I'm going to do the same with the background, the G and the F pieces. Now if you want to, of course, you can cut out all of these little squares individually and have, I think you need to cut 20 1.5 inch background squares to do this, and I think 16 of the green ones. So you could do it that way. This is just it's an easier way, I think, and it's a little bit faster, and anything that's going to save me time, I think, is a good thing. So I'm going to put these right sides together, and I'm going to stitch with a scant 1/4 inch, so that these will all come out measuring 3.5 inches when the units are all put together into these little 9 patches. So they're just going to be little 3-inch 9 patches when they're set into the block. So I am just going to line up my raw edges and let the machine go. Okay, we're going to make 2 different strip sets. In the first one, it's going to be 2 backgrounds with 1 green. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and add that other piece that I had cut from the first one. So just the other half of it, if that makes any sense. I'm just using the other 18-inch piece is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now the second strip, we're going to use 2 green strips and 1 background strip. All right, now it's time to press, And I am going to press so that the seams are pressed towards the green on both sets. Okay, this is strip set 1, and what I need are 8 pieces that are 1.5 inches wide, so I don't need as many of these as I do the other strip set. And then this is strip set 2, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that end is square. And now I need 4 pieces that are 3.5 inches wide, so I'm going to go to 3.5 inch mark. Okay, so those get set aside for another, and then I need 4 pieces that are 1.5 inches wide, so I just need to cut 4. There's 3. And here's 4. Okay, so I have this much left over, and I'm going to save that, and I'm going to save this so that I can make more blocks. Okay, so now I'm ready to make the 9 patch units, and I'm going to divide these all up. I'll have 4 of strip set number 1, 4 of strip set number 2, and 4 more of strip set number 1. And then I'm going to be sewing these seams together, and I'll be making 4 9 patch blocks. Okay, so I'm just going to nest the seams and sew these into 9 patch units. And I'm going to press, and we'll have the 9 patch units done. So now I need to make the half square triangles, and I am using Triangles on a Roll, which is a foundation paper. It's just a brand name. There are other brands out there, and you don't have to use triangle paper. You can just cut your pieces at 4 inches square and draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of the lightest color, and so a 1/4 inch away from that drawn line, which would be the solid line here. Now I'm using triangle paper because I have it, and because there are so many half square triangles in this block, that this will speed things up for me. So that's just personal preference, and it isn't needed, and it is an added expense, but you get a lot on a roll, so it's not too expensive. But it isn't necessary. Now if you're using foundation paper, you want to lower your stitch length. I'm lowering mine to 1.8, and I have my needle in the center position. It's not over to the right at this point. Okay, for these large pieces, for this triangle paper, I always cut the outside first and then I work my way in. So cut on the solid lines on this paper. So now these pieces just need to be cut here, and I'm going to just do those individually. You could, do it all the way across if you want. I think it's just as easy to do it this way. And this one you don't have to worry so much about being accurate cutting on the line, because this is in the seam allowance, and that seam has already been sewn, so you're not going to change the size of the block cutting right here. And someone did send me a message asking me why I use triangle paper and what that was all about. And I tried to answer the question online. Like it came into my email, but it didn't. When I tried to respond, it wasn't there on the video, so I'm not sure what happened to it. But the reason is, if I have a block that has a lot of half square triangles in it, I will use triangle paper because it's faster and it's more accurate. If there's just a few, then I will just use the traditional method. So there's all different ways to make half square triangles. Okay, so now I need to tear off the paper. And then I'll press. So here's the half square triangle right there. So that's ready to be pressed, and then I'll trim the dog ears off. So I'm going to go ahead and tear off this paper and press the half square triangles, and then we'll be ready to lay out the block and sew it together. Okay, so now we're going to lay out the block. So I'm going to start up here with a half square triangle, and these two are going to face the same direction, and then I need a background square, which is the H squares. And then I need two more half square triangles, and these face in this direction. So let's scoot over a little bit more. Let's see if we got everything in frame here. Okay, the next row is another half square triangle, and then a 9 patch, little rail fence, 9 patch, and half square triangle. So all these half square triangles facing the same direction. And now I need a background square, a rail fence. I need the A square, another rail fence, background square, and half square triangle. Now these two rows are going to be the same as these two, only they're going to be reversed. So we're just, whoops, getting ahead of myself here. Okay, and then more half square triangles. Background and half square triangles. Okay. So there's the block. So you can see how similar that is to the Missouri puzzle block, except these colors are reversed, and we have this triangle. These three triangles are in a different position. So the Missouri puzzle block goes like this. That makes the Missouri puzzle block. So it's the same pieces, just in different orientations, and colors are in different places. So now I'm ready to sew this together. So I'm going to sew it into rows and then sew the rows together. So I'm going to start by laying the first two pieces together on each row like this. I'll sew down here, and then I'll add each piece in each row as I go. So I'm going to adjust the camera and get started sewing. Okay, I'm going to go back to 2.0 stitch length, and I'm back to a scant 1/4 inch seam. That'll give me a more accurate size block. Here is the final block, and I think it's pretty. So there it is. So this is the Goose in the Pond block. Well, that's it for this video on the Goose in the Pond block, and I think it makes a pretty little block, and I can see it in all different colorways, and you can size this block down if you want to. I made it as a 15-inch block, but you could make it a 10-inch block. You're just going to have smaller measurements to deal with when you're making the 9-patch units and the rail fence units. So that's the only difference there is there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up, and share this video with your friends. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.